business, and personal empowerment. Lifestyle Thursdays, we talk all things lifestyle. Tune into the Daily Wrap-Up Show with me, Sipho Masigo, and James Siatelo as we inform, discuss, and empower you, Kofifi Lander, Mondays to Thursdays, 7 till 8 p.m. on Kofifi FM 97.2, where it all began. Welcome back to it. It's 25 minutes after 7 o'clock, and as we said to you, as promised, and this is a topic we wanted to engage with about 2-3 weeks ago, and what happened was we had no electricity, so we had to postpone it to today. And taking on from what Pops and the Jive Drive was talking about today, the issues of marriage, and a very interesting conversation on the Jive Drive. So we take it on from there, and this time around we're talking about Lobola negotiations as to what really happens when you as a guy, you want to get married, you're a black man, and you want to marry anybody, or just, okay, you want to marry a woman. And there has to be the process of Lobola negotiations and what really goes down into those negotiations. So our guest this evening, he's an expert. He's a chief negotiator. So for any young man who's looking to get married, please do make sure that you do consult this man.
At a cost.
At a cost. Oh. He'll make sure that he drops whatever amount that your parents or your parents-in-law are asking for. He'll drop it by at least 50%, if not
Speaking
more.
From experience.
Thabo, now just give us an overview as to what happens when a man decides to get married. I mean, what is the process of Lobola negotiation?
I must start by giving some sort of a disclaimer that as an African society, we're not necessarily a homogeneous group. So you would find that in South Africa we do it this way, elsewhere they do it like that. Yeah. But even within South Africa you would find different ethnic groups doing it differently and having different approaches to it. Yeah. And even within an ethnic group you'll find subdivisions where the other ones would prefer to do it this way or to do it that other way. So having said that, I want to mention loud and very clearly that I'm not speaking on behalf of everyone. So do not necessarily say I'm lying or telling the truth. It's just based on my experiences and where I come from and what I've been exposed to. Yeah. I'm very much conscious of the fact that elsewhere and other people may take different route, but the principle is the same of Lobola actually. But mainly it starts with two families having to come together to try to create relations. It's not necessarily about money as such, but more so about fermenting relations between two families, from the bride to be, the groom to be, on each side. And the approach is that you'd have the uncles, the aunts coming together, and again it says something very nice about our culture, that to a large extent you'd hear people wanting to manipulate it for their own ends. And this is just a demonstration that the role of women has always been central and it's very important. I mean, people like Magadi, they are very important in such things. Abo Mamncane and them, they are very important in such things. To a large extent, they play a pivotal role. They're at the center that holds these things together. So two families come together. I mean, firstly, it doesn't just work out like that. There's a letter that goes out. Obviously, a letter given the modern times, and it will change later on, I assume. An email or something will happen much later. Yes. Yeah, well, as the culture evolves, and culture again, it's not static. It moves. So you have a process of a letter first, when someone would be sent. It doesn't go through mail, post office. No. Yeah. It may never get there if it did that. So what happens is that someone would be sent with a letter to a lady's house. And the letter is mainly requesting permission to come and visit the lady's family and getting them ready as to what date the groom-to-be's family will be coming through, and for the Lobola negotiations to begin. Right? And after that process, they will ready themselves. Let's say it's the 11th of July. It would be preferably on a Saturday, whatever. It really doesn't matter. So that they would know. Again, some other people would then send their delegations very, very early in the morning. I know of instances where it happened 3 o'clock in the morning.
Sure.
And there's a reason for that. The reason, especially in the rural areas, the reason for that is that before the neighbors could even wake up and see, the negotiations should be on track, so that when the sun rises, even those who had negative or nefarious intentions would be disappointed that everything has been done. So it would almost be done in secrecy of sorts. Before the neighbors, people are jealous, and then they have messed up the negotiations and so on. That's why it would be done very early. In certain instances, I quickly concede that in other instances it's done at a later stage, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever the time. But that's how it really works out. So there'd be a process would begin. Again, this differs from family to family, clan to clan, ethnic group to ethnic group. But then the process would begin that they'd either be let in the gate, or they wouldn't be let in. They would go there in some instances. There's a big lock, and people are pretending that there's no one there at home. They didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
But it's part of the games. It's part of how this thing unfolds. So you must find a way to persuade the other family to open the gate for you, to recognize you one way or the other. It's up to you to be creative.
Yeah.
And so you play the game kind of thing. I'm saying game for lack of a better word. So you play along also to test your own patience, and which will then later on prove or cement your friendship at a later stage.
Can you break the lock?
Some families do. They
Yeah.
go as far as breaking the lock, because then it is seen that indeed this person is a man and he takes charge of things and he's really determined. There is determination.
So the groom must be given that responsibility, or Bomalume can
No,
break
it would
the
be
lock.
it would be Bomalume. The groom, don't forget, the groom is not allowed to go in unless requested.
Yeah.
The groom must chill in the car, if or at home, preferably watch DSTV and wait for her call. Yeah. But the groom shouldn't be there at that time, because it's two groups of elders from the ladies' side and from the men's side who are going to meet and discuss the future of their children. So they shouldn't be there unless called upon, unless summoned by the two groups, whichever way. So let's just assume that they are now inside, and once you are inside, you are seated. Again, the other family may choose, because it doesn't always happen, choose to just keep quiet and pretend that you are not there, and simply ignore you.
But
as
they're
if
sitting
you're
right
not
there.
They're sitting right there, you are sitting there, but they would just ignore you, pretend that you are not there at all. And you will say all these things, you greet them, they are quiet, and they go on with their business. Again, it's up to you to persuade them, to convince them that you are worthy of their time. And worthy of their time through something, not just convincing.
Yeah.
Perhaps you may put a bottle down as an icebreaker, vulamlomo of sorts, and you just put a bottle in, and they lighten up. Oh, okay, we recognize you.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Hey guys, you've been sitting here all this time. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Let's start. What's up?
Yeah.
So it would start. Then again, when this process begins, it is so different. But then again, I'll refer to the very basics. I'm very wary of not divulging critical stuff. The two families would have to decide and chat, and obviously the family of the groom would say why they're there. The other family would respond. They'd be back and forth, and the back and forth. In most cases, not all. In most cases, it is meant really to put to test the negotiation skills, not only skills, but the patience. You are somehow, it's a tug of war, a gentle tug of war, which is meant to help build on the relations that you have. to see how far the other team is willing to compromise and how far the other team is willing to also compromise. So it's mainly about compromise, because you can't go to the negotiating table with a list of demands and hoping that, and you think that all of them will be met just like that. Obviously, you need to realize that others won't be met. You need to give, you need to take. So that tests that process, the back and forth.
Absolutely, man. We're going to go more into, what really happens, especially when we look at different cultural groups. As you say, the ethnic groups that come together, whether you're a Pedi or a Venda or you're a Tswana, and now you have to compromise.
Whoa, yeah. That's a scary one.
Yeah.
Because the other one come with their own sets of cultural tools.
Yeah.
And you also come with your own acumen on approaching this, and there may be some clashing there.
We'll talk about that.
Sure.
James, you've got some clips there, just in terms of you were on the ground, you spoke to a couple of Kofifilanders, you walked the streets of Westbury. Did you at least identify anybody in Westbury who has paid Lobola? Or who has received Lobola?
This guy is becoming disruptive. That is totally unparliamentary, Honorable Cade. Okay, let's go back and hear what.
Yeah.
Well, I spoke to Shelton. Now, Shelton is from Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Wanted to find out from him, what do they call Lobola in Zimbabwe? He's an Ndebele guy.
Okay.
So let's go back and hear what Shelton had to say. Sure. And of course, you are welcome to send us your views as well. To become part of this conversation, send us your views on our Facebook page, Kofifi FM 97.2, at Kofifi FM _972, at MC Adelo, at Sipho Masiro. Let's go back and hear what you had to say. Magadi. Frequency 97.2 Kofifi FM is your community radio station with a difference. And tonight, once again, you're listening to Lifestyle Thursday with a difference. And indeed, we are coming to you live very differently. So, we are speaking Lobola negotiations. So I'm here with Shelton, one of the Kofifi lenders, speaking about Lobola. Now, Shelton, what do you call Lobola in your language?
We also call it Lobola because our language is Ndebele, which is also similar as Zulu.
And how do you determine the value when someone is getting married? If you're going out there to pay Lobola, how do you determine what?
Then whether she's a virgin or once married or has children.
And do you pay in cash?
Yes, alternatively, it's in cash or in the form of cattle.
So now let's speak about who you send to go and pay Lobola. If I'm getting married, can you send my father? Can you send anyone to basically go and pay Lobola for me?
Usually we don't send a father because it's like you are not respecting. You send your father's best friend or uncle or anyone who is trustworthy to pay to negotiate or to take that money, the money or whatever, to the in-laws.
And after Shelton Sibanda, I spoke to one of the Kofifi lenders locally here. Let's go back and hear if you understand Magadi, because the Daily Wrap-Up Show, Lifestyle Thursday, is all about educating you Kofifi lenders. It's all about sharing information with you. If you do not understand what Magadi is, he's a chief negotiator. Let's go back and hear what Neil had to say. Frequency 97.2 Kofifi FM 97.2 on a Lifestyle Thursday. We always start conversations. Yes, we start conversations on the Daily Wrap-Up Show. And as a Kofifi lender, we want you to be part of this conversation by either speaking to us live from the streets of Kofifi land or sending us your views on our social media platforms. Now tonight, we are speaking Lobola negotiations. We are speaking Lobola. Now, what do you think Lobola is, first of all?
Lobola, I'm not a cultural person, but I think if it comes to Lobola, it's like you're selling a person, because everybody is a free person here in the world. So if you sell someone, if you want money for someone, it's like selling that person, because even in the Bible declares that we own nothing here on earth. Everything belongs to God. So you can't sell a person. You can't. You're a steward. It's called stewardship. Everything you own is not yours. It's either you're a good steward or a bad steward.
Now, what do you think is being considered when a person is being sold, as you said?